Hi guys, we are coming towards the end of our little series in worship. I hope to clinch it tomorrow. Thank you for hanging in there with me. But it's a great theme, isn't it? And then the answer that Jesus gave to Satan that day when Satan tempted him and said, I'll give you the whole world. It already belonged to Jesus, but Satan said, I'll give it to you all if you'll just worship me. And Jesus simply said, it is written. I hope we're getting the hint here. I hope we're really getting the hint that we don't argue with Satan. He'll out-argue us, he'll outmaneuver us, he'll outdo us every single time, and we will certainly lose that. But it is written will always win the case. Now today I want to suggest to you that this thing of worship very often happens at the point of loss, at the point of grieving, at the point of something terrible or sad that has happened to you. I think of Isaiah in the book of Isaiah chapter 6 where he was grieving the loss of the king. Uzziah had died. It says this, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. Now I wonder that if that hasn't happened in your life, in the year that something tragic happened, you too saw the Lord. And it resulted in the most incredible time of worship as he fell before God and he just confessed his sins and God cleansed him and repurposed him for his life. And what a beautiful story that hinges around him seeing the Lord. Remember right at the beginning we said when you see God as he is, the automatic response from you will always be simply to worship. But he saw the Lord as a result of a grieving situation. Uzziah, his hero, his king, had died. In the year that the king died, in the year that it all seemed so bleak, in the year that it looked like there was no hope, in the year that it looked like it was all gone, and his very hope had been destroyed with the king, in the year that all that stuff happened, he saw the Lord. Now, I don't know, maybe you can identify with that today. Before I challenge you on that one, let me take you to David. In 2 Samuel chapter 12, David had a similar experience. After his sin with Bathsheba, she fell pregnant and he lost that child. That child died. And David, while that child was in life, was pleading for God to heal that kid, but God didn't, and the kid died. And David was heartbroken, but we read about how he handled his heartbreak. He says this in chapter 12. He said, after the people had told David that his son had died, he got up, washed himself, put on ointment, and went to the temple to worship. His life had fallen apart, people. People at his child had died, and everybody was so shocked. But here's what gives us the ability to worship. Listen carefully, people. This is important. What gives us the ability to worship is simply found in the fact you've got to have an eternal eye. You've got to keep your eye, one eye on the world and one eye on eternity. And David said, the reason that I'm able to worship is because he will not come to me again, but one day, one day, I will go to him and I will see him again. And David worshipped at the point of his loss. So I don't know, maybe today you're grieving and my heart goes out to you at the point of your grief. I would never make it any less than what it is. It hurts, doesn't it? It really does when you lose a loved one or lose a business or lose a wife or a sibling or I don't know what you lost. But when you lose something, don't lose out on the opportunity to find God at a much better place, and it meets you at the point of worship. Yesterday, I had the privilege of meeting a young lady, and I'd previously heard that she had lost a child just recently. And so I just said to her, my girl, how are you doing? Are you coping with the loss of this little child? And she said, well, it's not the only bad things that happened. I had a miscarriage this last month as well. And I'm thinking to myself, can it get any worse for this kid? And then I said, well, how are you doing? And she just smiled and said, there's some good come out of it. I found God again. And I think, can grief do that? Apparently it can. Apparently it can, and it does, if we will allow it to. She said, my faith has grown stronger. I've returned to God, and he has now brought me unbelievable comfort. People, at the point of worship, that's where you find that stuff. So maybe, as I said just now, maybe you're at that point. Something's happened. Could be a disease or a sickness or an illness or something that you hadn't budgeted or planned for. Remember that when you're at your lowest, God is at his best, and what a great time to exercise the wisdom of worship. It's not easy, but man, it's good for you. I hope you're able to find that place. Have a good day. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.